Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I have an Amethyst Steel deck for you. It started out as a card advantage deck with the Queen here, giving you card draw, a Magic Mirror card draw, friends on the other side. But I don't think I was playing it right or just wasn't working out, and so it just slowly got a little bit more aggro, and now I feel like it's in a good place to be a weird combination of aggro and card advantage, and it's actually been working out pretty well for me. We've got a lot of direct damage with Smash, Grab Your Sword, and Fire the Cannons. They take out your opponents really easily, and they usually don't see it coming. And then we've got Rafiki for Rush to do some more damage there. We've got our Donald for some bodyguard. And then for our high lore characters, we've got a 1-drop Maleficent for 2. She's pretty weak and gets taken out, but she's good for a few early lore when questing. And then late game, we've got Tinkerbell to do a little bit more damage, 2 lore, Taka to give us some lore when he takes out someone in a challenge. I recently added Elsa for some exertion on the opponents just in case you need that late in the game. Magic Broom can return some cards to your hand. And we've still got all of our card advantage. Hans down here for a little bit more damage and some lore. So you'll notice that the highest lore characters we have are 2. But with a lot of our cheaper cards, we've only got the 2 cards that are worth 6. Everything else is around 3 to 4, some 2s. It can be a pretty good aggro strategy to get a lot of characters out there on the board and questing and just overwhelm your opponents. The only problem comes in when you're playing against a true aggro deck and they just want to wipe the board and destroy all of your characters pretty quickly. That's really the main weakness of this deck, but you can work around that by just not playing all of your characters at once, knowing what your opponent's going to do, and having your direct damage actions ready for when you need them. The link to the Dreamborn deck is down here at the bottom, and it'll also be in the description. And let's go get into a game and see what this deck is capable of. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for all of the support you've been giving to the channel. The number of views I've gotten in such a short time has been phenomenal, and I would really love it if all of you watching right now could go and hit that subscribe button and help us grow this channel even more. Alright, so the strategy with your opening hand with this deck is that you want to get rid of everything that you can't play within the first 2, maybe 3 turns, and you absolutely want to get rid of anything that's uninkable except for your turn 1 Maleficent here. We can keep one of these Elsas, one of these Maleficents, and get rid of the rest. And we might end up with worse cards like that, but you know, it'll cycle through our deck a little bit at least. And so to start off with, we're going to ink the Broom. We don't play that one very much, it's mostly just for ink, but in a pinch we do have it. We get out the Maleficent on turn 1, and we really just hope that they don't destroy it immediately. It's not a huge risk, and it only costs 1 to play. It's just a good thing to get out some early lore if we can. They're playing red, which is going to be a problem for us. They can easily take out our characters and wipe the whole board, so it's just something we need to be aware of. Mostly we just don't want to have all of our characters out at the same time in case they do wipe them really quickly. So we ink the giant Tinkerbell because we won't be able to use her for quite a while. And we'll get out our Aladdin with 2 lore to start with. We could quest with the Maleficent, but then Sergeant Tibbs is just going to take her out immediately with really no punishment for him, so we'll wait to quest. We can potentially take out the Sergeant Tibbs with Aladdin on the next turn if we want. We'll lose the Aladdin, which isn't great because he's 2 lore, but at least the Sergeant Tibbs would be gone, and we could then quest with the Maleficent. So we'll just have to see what the opponent does on this turn. Okay, so they got the LeFou. They really could have quested with Sergeant Tibbs and gotten the 1 lore, then played the LeFou and readied him. That's just a bad play on their part, or maybe a mistake. And I don't know why they're not questing with the Sergeant Tibbs, because it's an easy 1 lore, and even if we take him out, it's not a huge loss to them, so it's something that they really could have done pretty easily. So I think we will ink the Elsa, even though we could use her. I'd rather have the bodyguard, which was the other thing I was thinking about inking. I don't want to waste the Smash and 3 damage on either of these characters, so we'll just play our Maleficent and draw a card. Then I think we can quest with our Aladdin for 2, and if they attack with either one of these characters, then we can take them out pretty easily. We'll lose the Aladdin, like I said, but it's not a huge loss, and they'll lose one of their characters as well. So decent trade-off there. Inking the Shield of Virtue. You know, in my playthroughs, I've really just found that you can't use the shield as much as you really want to because it does cost 3 ink to be able to ready a character, and it's only a one-use thing per turn. You just don't get as much play out of it as you would really want. But if there's some way you could use it more effectively, then it is a great card to have in your deck to keep your characters ready. So we traded the LeFou for the Aladdin. We could take out the Gaston. I don't know if we're going to. We could take him out with the Fire of the Cannons pretty easily, actually, so we might do that. And then we could trade the Maleficent for the Sergeant Tibbs. I'm not sure yet. I really want to get the Bodyguard out, so I think I'm going to ink the Smash. And we'll fire the cannons at Gaston just to make sure he's gone. And then 3 left, we'll play our other Maleficent. Again, something we need to be careful of because they could wipe the board, they could take her out with Dragonfire. Of course, they can't do that yet because they only have 3 ink, but it is something we have to be aware of. And I think we'll quest with this Maleficent for 1, and they can take her out with the Sergeant Tibbs, but we'll leave that up to them. And then we'll see what we draw on the next turn to decide what we're going to do. So obviously at this point we could be questing for 5 per turn, but with this deck we can afford to go a little bit slower and build up our characters to quest for more later on. But again, with their red and Amethyst, we just have to be careful about them clearing our characters out. So it's kind of a trade-off of, do we start questing early and maybe lose our characters, or do we hold off and hope that they don't get too big of an advantage? So we'll play the Donald now. He has Bodyguard, so now we can safely quest our other characters and not worry about them getting taken out immediately. Of course, on this next turn of theirs, they can have 5 ink, which means they can play a Dragonfire and take out probably the Donald, maybe one of the Maleficents. They still can't play Be Prepared, so that's good for us. And of course, they're playing Amethyst as their other color, which means that the only removal they have is Be Prepared and Dragonfire. Getting the Queen out to try to get some card advantage there. Not a big concern for us. I don't think their deck is very optimized right now, so I don't think we have a lot to be worried about. And they're going to quest, which of course leaves him open to being taken out. I think we'll probably take him out with the Donald. We could play the Rafiki right here, take him out with that. I think that might be a better choice just because I don't want to use Grab Your Sword yet. So we'll take out the Sergeant Tibbs with Rafiki. He's got 1 left. And we can just quest with everyone else. And we're up to 14. And we still have the Grab Your Sword so that we can take out a lot of their board if they play some cheap characters and we're really in a pinch. I don't foresee that happening because we can get 7 on our next turn. And yep, there's the Dragonfire. Yep, figured that would happen. I think they should have used the Dragonfire on the Donald though, and then used the Queen to take out one of the Maleficents, but they probably don't want the Queen to be exerted so that we can't take her out easily. You know, it's really just according to your play style, but I think that may have been a better play for them because now they have 0 ink. They can still ink 1. They'll have 1. I'm not sure what they could play to really give themselves advantage. Yeah, see, that was really not a good choice on their part. They should have used the Dragonfire on the Donald, yep, and then they just, I think they realized that they just didn't do well there, but worked to our advantage, and I really hope that they go on to play some better games, learn from their mistakes in this one. Again, I just want to thank everyone for watching and supporting the channel, and it would mean so much to me if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I really hope to see you back in the next video.